It ain't over till every vote is counted. Every ballot is counted.
This is a fraud on the American public. This is an embarrassment to our country. We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election.
Well, the race for the White House continues this morning. Overnight, President Trump claiming victory despite the race being too close to call.
And votes are still being tallied in many states this morning. The president went after vote counting efforts and said he'll go to court to challenge those results. Good morning on this Wednesday, November 4th. I'm Sarah Fergani.
And I'm Barry Davis. Thanks for joining Eyewitness News this morning. We're going to get back to the local and the national results. We're also going to update, obviously, the weather and the traffic and everything this morning.
Yeah, but first we want to begin with the latest in the presidential race on this Wednesday morning. President Trump has projected the winner in Texas over Joe Biden, gaining 38 electoral votes.
And here's a look at the total electoral vote count around the country. Right now, Biden is leading. Overnight, the president expressed confidence he won, but CBS News has not projected a winner.
And right now, Skylar Henry is at the White House with the details on that.
President Trump tried to declare victory overnight at the White House.
We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election.
CBS News has not projected a winner in the race for president, with a number of states still counting ballots, and neither candidate having the 270 electoral votes needed.
We want all voting to stop. We don't want them to find any ballots at 4 o'clock in the morning.
President Trump said he's ready to go to court to challenge the results. The Biden campaign called the president's remarks a, quote, naked effort to take away the democratic rights of American citizens.
I'm here to tell you tonight, we believe we're on track to win this election.
Former Vice President Joe Biden addressed his supporters in Delaware just after midnight this morning.
We knew because of the unprecedented early vote and the mail-in vote that it was going to take a while. We're going to have to be patient. And it ain't over till every vote is counted.
Because of the coronavirus pandemic, a record number of Americans voted early and by mail. It's taking longer to count those votes in states like Michigan, which hopes to have its results later today.
Be beyond tomorrow morning before we actually get the vote count.
And Pennsylvania, where it could be days before there's an official result.
What's most important is that we have accurate results and that every vote is counted.
CBS News projects the president held Biden off in Texas, Iowa, and Florida, while Biden held on to Minnesota. Georgia has yet to be called, partly because a water line break at State Farm Arena delayed counting absentee ballots. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
Now, some election workers in Georgia stopped counting overnight with plans to continue in the early morning. Wisconsin officials are working through the night, and it could be called soon.
Now, Texas Senator John Cornyn held off challenger MJ Hagar to win re-election. The Republican incumbent won 54 to 44%. Cornyn says he's now looking forward to returning to Washington to continue serving Texas.
I'm glad we had this fight. It's a fight for the soul of our nation and our state. Serving as your United States Senator has been the privilege of my lifetime. We have accomplished a lot together, but we have more to do.
And Cornyn has represented Texas in the Senate now since 2002. From the Senate race to several tight races for the U.S. House.
Yeah, Erica Zucco begins our election team coverage. And Erica, really no big surprises.
Yeah, Barry and Sarah, well, there's some really close races here and some that were really closely watched even on a national level. Want to break down the numbers for you as they are as of this morning in terms of what KENS 5's election team was comfortable calling. Want to break down those races for you. The first one, we're looking at House District 15. Democratic Representative Vicente Gonzalez was up for re-election against challenger Monica de la Cruz Hernandez. The incumbent took the race with just over 50% of the vote. In the District 20 race, incumbent Representative Joaquin Castro sailed to victory over challenger Moro Garza. He took roughly 65% of the vote. Now, District 21 was pretty closely watched. Ultimately, Republican incumbent Representative Chip Roy defeated challenger Wendy Davis. taking about 52% of the vote to win another term in Congress. And District 23, one of the largest congressional districts in the state, has a new representative. Republican Tony Gonzalez defeated Democrat Gina Ortiz-Jones. Gonzalez replaces Will Hurd, who did not run for re-election. And there was a big win for Congressman Henry Cuellar. The incumbent took close to 56% of the vote to beat Republican challenger Sandra Whitten. And Democrat Filemon Vela held off Republican challenger Ray Gonzalez to win re-election. He took more than 54% of the vote. And Democratic Congressman Lloyd Doggett won re-election in the District 35 race with 65% of the vote. He defeated challenger Jenny Garcia Sharon. Now, District 35 stretches from Austin to San Antonio along the I-35 corridor. And Governor Greg Abbott tweeted out that ultimately Texas did remain red, though a number of Democratic representatives did note that they were pushing some of those districts more toward blue. We'll, of course, follow for those final numbers, but this is what we're comfortable calling at this point in time. We're live at Bexar County Elections Department headquarters. Erica Zucco, KENS 5 Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Erica. There'll also be 4 more years for Bexar County Sheriff Javier Salazar. The sheriff took an early lead over challenger Jerry Rickoff. Mariah Medina spoke with the sheriff before the election about what the next 4 years will look like.
I talked to the sheriff earlier this week. He told me 3 things he's proud of accomplishing in his first 4 years in office include implementing body-worn cameras, increasing training hours for deputies, both current and incoming, as well as community education on crime prevention. He says the next 4 years will continue to build on that.
Well, nobody has ever dialed 911 and said, hey, send me a Democrat or send me a Republican. I've done my best to protect and serve every single one of our 2 million Bexar County residents, regardless of party affiliation, race, religion, anything else. I've done my best over those 28 years to protect and serve my community. Certainly the last 4, I've been blessed beyond measure to be your Bexar County Sheriff.
And the sheriff not immediately available to give a statement last night, but his campaign spokesman says one is forthcoming. Back to you.
And Rickoff may have lost the race for sheriff, but he says he still wants to see some changes in the department. Rickoff ran against Salazar despite having no law enforcement experience, and during the campaign disagreed with Salazar how he handled the mental health check of a military veteran, which led to deputies killing the man. Rickoff hopes now the sheriff will follow through on plans to do better with helping inmates with mental problems.
I think that we ought to have a real look at how we're doing our policing, how we treat the humanity of the 4,000 people we have locked up on Comell Street, and how we do our criminal justice system.
For a more detailed look at the results of the sheriff's race, you can head on over to KENS5.com.
Voters in Bexar County get to decide whether their sales tax money goes by saying yes or no to 3 propositions. Proposition A has passed with 73% of the vote, and this will renew the sales tax rate to fund San Antonio's pre-K for SA program over the next 8 years. Now, this program educates thousands of kids every year. It also provides early education training and workshops. Also, new job training programs will be covered. Proposition B also passed with 77% of the vote. That measure will transfer tax money from aquifer protection to workforce development. And this program would help with degree completion and provide financial assistance to 40,000 people. And the Advanced Transportation District proposition passed with 68% of the vote. With this proposition here, the 1/8 cent sales tax will pay for new public transportation services. The early voting turnout is the real talker of this election cycle, and at last check on Election Day, around 84,000 voters showed up. Overall, 64% of voters in the county showed up to vote, surpassing the turnout in the 2016 election. Mail-in ballots are still being counted this morning. 120,000 were sent out. They have processed about 80,000 so far. We're going to have a lot more on your local races, national and state, in just a minute. First,
Yeah, let's go over to Paul, get a look at the forecast. Paul?
All right, let's take a look out there. Temperatures and dew points fairly close together, so I do think we'll have some patchy fog, some of that already developing. Temperatures out there this morning in the upper 40s, most locations in the 40s. You're going to need a jacket, and we'll see those visibilities again. We'll see those visibilities coming down. Let's take a look. Visibility right now out around Gonzales, about a half a mile. Around Karnes City coming down, also around Bernie coming down as well. Relative humidity values, yeah, they're pretty high in some places. Gonzales about 100%. So here's what you can expect. Patchy fog this morning, high around 81 degrees. It's going to be a really nice afternoon. Go out there and enjoy. Let's see how the roadways are shaping up. What's going on out there this morning, Stacia?
Yeah, you're not going to have any problems if you're heading out the door right now. Watching your map, we do have a little bit of construction on the northwest side along I-10 eastbound between Crossroads Boulevard and exit 565A, and then also another one I-10 eastbound between Vance Jackson and West Avenue. Let's look outside with our cameras checking TransGuide. For Lieutenant Callahan, no problems there. Right now, nothing is getting in your way along 98 Zarzamora. Traffic there is still nice and light. I have a feeling people are probably going to maybe sleep in a little bit. Probably a late night for lots of folks. Sarah, Barry?
Yeah, I have the same feeling. Thank you, Station. We're going to get back to this and take a look at some of the races here for the state legislature.
In Texas Senate District 21, Democrat Judith Zaffirini appears to have won the race. She was running against Republican Frank Pomeroy, who's the pastor of the church in Sutherland Springs where a gunman killed 26 people almost 3 years ago. In District 26, Democrat incumbent Jose Menendez has won against Julian Villarreal. And in Texas House District 116, Democrat Trey Martinez Fisher is the projected winner over Republican Robert Litoff.
Now, Republican Lyle Larson appears to have defeated Claire Barnett in the race for Texas House District 122. We're going to have a lot more results from all of the local and national races throughout the morning here on Eyewitness News. And you can also check out election updates on KENS5.com/elections. Your time now is 5:11, still to come.
Well, creating a little conversation. We're going to hear from an expert on how to talk with your kids about the current climate of the election.
Visit Washington.